going on, Spurs family? Back with another video. We had a full week of basketball, a nice full week of basketball. Um, a lot of good things, some bad things, some concerns, but the same concerns that I had even going into the season. But we ended our 5 games with 3-2 record. That's it's not a bad start at all. Definitely not having that preseason. I mean, we had a preseason, but our main guys wasn't playing together. I think Chris Paul and Victor probably been on the floor like not long in the preseason, probably like a quarter. I'm not really sure, but they really didn't get much preseason action, so they still working on finding that chemistry. It actually jumped off the roof against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They was clicking. Even Chris Paul and Sohan was clicking, and that's what we need to see like all year round. But that's my concern, Um, that's my main concern. So right off the bat, these 5 games, I noticed that Victor comes out the game and Chris Paul. Sometimes Victor and Chris will come out the game like the same time, unless like one of them's at the foul line or whatever, and it leaves our offense like non-existent. It's like a straight drought. We can't buy a basket. I remember one quarter, I wanted to see how much we score with them not in the game, and I believe it was like one quarter was like 4, I think, and the other quarter it was like 1. But Victor came in like within the 1 minute mark, so he wasn't out the whole quarter. So like a 3 minute stretch there, 3 to 4 minute stretch there, we only scored 1 point. And this is like, I understand why Pop does it, because number one, Chris Paul is quite old, still getting into shape, and Victor is still getting into shape. But to take them both off at the same time, it leaves us with no offense. It leaves us like zero offense. Keldon Johnson, I love him. He's a good player. I think he'll do some good for us. I think he's a good piece, but his shooting is, I mean, I don't think any of his shots is going to go in, and I don't know if that's because how his mechanics is and but it just doesn't look good when it leaves his hands. But he gonna have to pick up, some the offensive load, because he's literally our best offensive option on that second team. But it's not good enough. I mean, defenses know what he's going to do. He want to drive to the basket, and they giving him that 3-point shot. They daring him to make it. So he going to have to. I doubt he becomes more consistent. I doubt he becomes this 35, 36% 3-point shooter. So he's going to have these inconsistent games, and that might cost us. And this is why it's important for Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell can't play passenger anymore. Last year, it was a lot of games he was playing passenger, where when Victor get out the game, it's been times I counted where he didn't even touch the ball on offense. He can't do that. When Chris Paul and Victor is out the game, which is going to happen unless, one of them gets in shape and Popovich leaves them out there a little longer, one of them out there a little longer than the other. If that don't happen and he continues to take both of them out the game at the 5-minute mark each quarter, then Vassell going to have to take control of the offense. He can't just sit there and let the offense flow. He's going to have to get the ball in his hands. The offense have to run through him. And that's where, he has to step his game up. He got to become one of the vocal points of the offense, as I thought he should have been last year. He was last year, but he wasn't aggressive enough. You see how Keldon Johnson, he's aggressive. When he gets the ball, he's playing like he's the scorer. He's taking that offensive load. He's just limited in his shooting. Vassell was a good mid-range shooter, outside shooter. When he attacks the basket, it's a bit okay, but He's more of an all-around offensive player than Keldon Johnson. It's just that he don't got the mindset of Keldon Johnson. We need him to have that mindset of Keldon Johnson when Victor and Chris Paul is out the game to carry that offensive load. So it's going to be a big year for Devin Vassell when he gets back. Also, what irritated me the last game against the Wolves last night is the impatience, and I worry about the impatience when it comes to the coaching staff. You know, of course, Stephen Castle is not a terrific outside shooter. Neither is Blake Wesley, but they're point guards. So their answer was put Malachi Branham at point guard. And I really don't see what made them think to do that. I mean, Malachi Branham is not, he's a streaky shooter. He can shoot the ball, but he's streaky. It's not like you putting out there a knockdown shooter. He's a streaky shooter. When he's hot, he's hot. When he's cold, he's cold, And so I don't get the risk of sacrificing the fluidity of the offense by putting him in that point guard. Because putting him in that point guard, you see that, he gets flustered. He's not in control of things. So I'm glad they went away from it. And sorry for the background noise. If y'all hear any background noise, my apologies. But yeah, so he basically he's basically not a point guard. So I wouldn't put him there. He gets flustered, and I'm glad they went away from it. When they seen that he was getting flustered and he turned the ball over at one time, and then they just went away from it. Yes, you got 2 point guards on the bench. Use them, okay? If the defense is playing off them, then use that to your advantage. We don't have to keep shooting threes, okay? You can win games playing to your strength. I understand the analytics, everything, and which the analytics annoys me because I heard Sean Elliott last night saying Greg Popovich liked that Victor shot 13 threes in a game against what was it? Who was that against when he shot 13 threes? The Jazz, right? And I don't like that. He's 7'4". We should give him easier shots. We should give him easier shots close to the basket. We shouldn't give him, more difficult shots. Shooting 35-footers as a 7'4" player is basically bailing out the defense. He's not a knockdown shooter. So far, I had to go pull up the stats. So far, he's shooting 24% from the three-point line. That's horrific. He's attempting 33 attempts. He shot 71 field goals altogether. 33 of them was three-pointers. That's more than our guards. He's shooting more threes than our guards. He's 7'4". It's about time we start using his height. Get him closer in. Get him in the mid-range area. Get him in the post area. I like what they was doing in Minnesota. I think it was like the third quarter or the fourth quarter. I can't remember. Where Paul will come and set a screen. He will dive inside in the block, and get the pass closer to the back. That's what we need to be doing more of. We can start off like that. And then he can take his outside shots here and there. Because when he gets the ball right there in the paint, it opens up the shooters. Now we getting wide open shots. Victor don't have to be the one shooting the threes. If you want to talk analytics, Victor don't have to be the one shooting the threes. He can be the one facilitating the threes. Get him closer down there where he has the advantage. Now, if he's going to get somebody like Rudy Gobert yesterday, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but if you're going against Rudy, yeah, now you want him on the outside, make him use his ability to put the ball on the floor and possibly go around or maybe step back threes and stuff like that. But a little bit of that here and there. I would say not 5 threes a quarter, but 2 threes a quarter. Let's break it down there. Shoot 2 threes a quarter. Let's start putting him closer to the basket and then moving him out, inside out. That game still works. It still works. We don't have to continue shooting a trillion threes. Inside game still works. And it can open up the three-point shooting because they're going to double. Because Victor that close, all you have to do is turn around and do a hook shot over each shoulder if he pleases. Hardly anybody's going to block that shot. Nobody except for probably a Rudy or somebody that got good height and a good bounce. Do that. Let's do that. But to be 8 for 33 from the three-point line, that's horrible. That's not a good shooter. So when Sean Elliott said that, I was baffled. Like, are we watching the same game? Because he's not knocking these shots down. Yeah, it looks good when he makes the one because it's like, wow, you see that step back three. Oh, wow, you see what he did there. It's the wow factor. But we can't get caught up on the wow factor. We got to look at what's literally happening. He's not making a lot of them. He's not. And he's bailing out the defense by coming down shooting 35-footers. Definitely off a rebound and he just comes up and just launch one. If I was the opposing team, we want him out there. We want him out there. That's like if Shaq had a three-pointer, right? You know how dominant Shaq was in the early 2000s. He couldn't be stopped in the paint. And he just started coming down launching threes at the same rate Victor is. The same percentage Victor is. Oh, the opposing team is going to take that. We'll take that. We'd rather him out there than killing us in the paint, getting us in foul trouble. And that's where we need to go with that. And my concerns is it's going to go back to the Vassell thing. It's going to go back to the Vassell thing. Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes proved me wrong. He's playing lights out. Julian Champagnie, I thought he would come in and like play like I guess he plays well every preseason. I'm gonna call him preseason Mike or preseason Miller because he's dead eye in preseason. When it comes to regular season, it's like, good God, what happened to the preseason player? So he preseason Reggie Miller, but regular season Rajon Rondo. He's shooting 22% from the 3-point line. I thought he would carry that momentum into the season. But Harrison Barnes he's playing lights out. Lights out. Terrific basketball from Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul. But my worry is, this is my worry now. These are old players, and just like rookie walls, I think that there are veteran walls when you hit a certain age. Getting to that mid-season, the miles is running up. They're not going to be able to push like they're doing right now. So they're going to have some games where they're off. Not a lot of games because these are veteran savvy players, but they're going to have games where they're going to be a bit off, offensively anyway. And so that's where we need a Devin Vassell to pick up offensively. You already know Wemby's going to be Wemby. That's if he's not launching 13 threes a game. Okay. It's going to be a big year for Vassell because Chris Paul lately, I think most of these last few years, he's been picking up knocks. But I like how Stephen Castle. I think Stephen Castle, even before we drafted him, I always thought he will be a terrific player. I hope he's soaking up all that knowledge from Chris Paul while he's around, because there's no better point guard to learn from in the league right now than Chris Paul. Like, the guy can flat out play point guard. Like, I think he's the best. Prototype point guard, or stereotypical point guard, the floor general point guard. I think he's the best at that in this league. I think there's nobody Nobody in the league can be a better floor general than Chris Paul at his age. He's the type of point guard that you really, really miss in today's game. A lot of point guards in today's game are more like scorers, or are they just coming up to set up the offense and get out the way. You know, Chris Paul is that guy that's a floor general. He's telling people where to go. He's reading the off. I mean, he's reading the defense. He's picking apart their weakness. He's making passes that our guards wouldn't even make last year, and he's finding guys where they need to be, and we just playing fantastic. That was a great win last night. Don't let that win get over your heads. That's a good Minnesota team, and the display of passing that Chris Paul put on, it's just terrific. It was just fantastic to watch. It was beautiful basketball. But my worry is, with his age, with Harrison Barnes' age, these other guys going to have to step up because they're going to have off games. These aren't they're out their prime. They have a lot of mileage on their bodies. So that's my concern. But I love how we play, and I hope we continue to play this way. I hope we continue this win streak. I forget who we play tomorrow, but hopefully we continue this gameplay. We continue to get that good chemistry, and I think it will be a good season. Like I predicted that we'll make the play in. So hopefully we continue to win and prove that we belong and start making that push for being one of the best teams out west. We still a couple years away, but we can build something special with these players. So that's all I have it for Spurs Talk with the Hanu. See y'all next week.